welcome to Point of View. I am Crystal Holliday.
Sage Molly.
And Shakayla.
Today we're going to talk about the past and the present. Now, when you think of the past, I think of my mom, my generation, your generation. So, my mom is part of the baby boomers. And they set the tone, but I can talk more about my generation. My generation is when you started getting into that. We started getting into the computer, but it wasn't, we actually seen the computer come in. Remember Atari and what was some of the other games? Sega. You know, Donkey Kong and everything, you know, but my favorite was Cubert, you know. Yeah, Pac-Man, definitely Pac-Man. But Cubert was better than Pac-Man. But I love Cubert. But and then you had the millennials, which is the millennials, and they was, I mean, an explosion of the computer, the phones, and everything like that. But as far as the different generations, what is your point of view on that, Kayla?
On generations, I see a lot, and I think that our generation, we pull from a lot of different past generations when it comes to fashion and music. We sample a lot, like us growing up, even with like hip hop and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
We really got introduced to a lot of sampling, and so we like the past. I think we learned a lot from the past, and we trying to like be more aware of what we can do better socially. Like, we're very social, I think, this generation.
Definitely.
But when it comes to past and present, it always seems like the seasoned or older people talk about, I wish I was younger and it was better back then. But then you have younger people that always say, I can't wait till I'm older. So it's like, what is the appeal? Like, in your opinion, like, what's the appeal on both sides? You know, was y'all like that when y'all younger? Y'all want to be older, or now?
Well, I know. Growing up, you know, I used to like my mom's fashion. Oh my goodness, she used to dress so beautifully. But I like the afros and everything. And now we going back into wearing afros and the bell bottoms and everything. So things have a way of coming back around. But I never wished that I was in another era. I like the era that I was in, because I like the 70s and I love the 80s. You know, it's as time was going on, it seemed like things got harder and harder. What's your opinion? Sage.
For me, when I think about like moving to a different generation, I know I used to always say like I feel like I should have been born earlier, because I don't vibe with these special type of person that these 20-year-olds and teenagers are. But I never really wanted to be older, though, if that makes sense. It's like, I don't really want to be older. I don't really want to be out of my age bracket. But if I could, like, move back in time, I would. But I think it is weird that, like, people kind of waste their youth a little bit, wishing they were older, wishing I want to be 18 so I could vote. I want to be 21 so I could drink. And then you get 28 and you like, God, I can't even drink no more. Can I just go back to 19? So it's just like...
And I love 19. That was my favorite age.
Just love being the age that you are, because I feel like the age that you are, something beautiful comes along with it. Whether it's being naive or whether it's great wisdom. Like, both have its ups and downs. And I feel like you should appreciate where you are, because it's to be appreciated.
Yes, right. That's the moment. Yes, that's good.
I know when I was younger and I had littler children, it seemed like the dollar went so much further. The dollar, I say in the 80s, $100 was like $267. And
I can believe it today.
As today's money. And it just seemed like we had a little but made it stretch so far. You know, but now it seems like people making more money, but it don't seem like you can make the money stretch. Far, right? You know, so money-wise, it seems like the jobs really aren't paying what they should be paying. Especially like when we went to school and get a degree and then have this huge debt. You know, it's just hard. It seems like it's harder. It's just harder this day.
Yeah, I can't really speak to how hard it would have been before because clearly I wasn't responsible for bills before. But it's like it has to be harder because like we were always told like if you get a college degree you'll be able to maintain,
Yes.
and now here I am, and this college degree is actually part of the reason why it's hard to maintain.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's kind of like damned if you do, damned if you don't. Kind of it's like catch 22 either way you go. And I if you ask me, I would say it has to be harder because put it like this. Maybe for I remember at least 10 years of my life, you could take that same dollar and go to the corner store and get 4 or 5 items. Yeah. But over the last 3 years or so, it's okay. Now I can get 3 items. Now I'm down to 2 items, and now a bag of chips is not even 2 bags of chips are not even $1. It's $1.50 now.
That's crazy.
So it's like
I know.
It seems like the prices are and I'm not good at math at all. I wouldn't even lie to me, but it seems like prices are multiplying faster than they did in the past
due to inflation. You know.
You said that. I was thinking the same thing at the store. Us growing up, you can get 4 bags of chips for $1, and I remember us saying, "What? Now we can only get 3. Now it's only 2."
Well, when the chips went to 50 cents, I was like, "What?"
Hugs went up. I remember that, and getting on the bus was more money, and I remember that. So we saw, even as kids, we noticed it, and growing up.
Yes, but when it comes down to pause. We had to get rid of the dog. But back to the prices. I wrote down a little bit of the prices. In 1980, bread was 54 cents. And that's how much it should be now. And now in 1999, bread was $2.33. Now I've seen bread. It depends on where you go. If you go to Walmart, it's cheaper. The supermarket, you gotta be rich to shop in the supermarket. You know, you can't buy produce in the supermarket. Forget it. Forget it. You cannot. Milk in 1980, milk, and this was for a quart, 63 cents. Oh my goodness. And compared to 1999, it was $1.40, and this was for a quart. Then you had sugar. 1980, 90 cents. 1999, $2.21. Now we're gonna go to butter. It seemed like butter always was high. In 1980, butter was already $1. 1990, and it didn't go up much, but it was $2.09. But now butter is like what, $3 now?
Yeah, depending on
it was like $3 for 4 sticks. So.
Yeah.
Potatoes, in the 1980, 36 cents. 36 cents. And this is the reason why the dollar was able to be stretched. 99 cents in 1990 and $1.55 as of 1999. So it's no wonder that you can't make ends meet, because not only did food go up, the price of living has gone up so much. Mortgages have gone up. Name it, and it's going up. Clothing, everything has gone up. What do you think about that?
So like we said, I just think that that's crazy. I wish that the price was like that now. That's what I think about.
I need for it to be like this now.
Yeah, but I do have a question. I'm kind of, I guess, circling back, because I know you said growing up with your mom and you saw they had the afros, everything cycled back. We are getting back into our natural look, but I feel like back then and now it was like cool, but it's also like a statement for whatever reason, even though it's just our natural look. But for some reason, wearing how our hair just grows out, it's like a statement or whatever. But do you see any difference from then till now? Because I know it's still not as embraced, but then on the other hand,
the one thing I see different from then to now is the attitude we had. I mean, toward life, period. Even with me, like, I can't see somebody being hurt and pull my my phone out and record it.
Right.
Like, I think we were more sentimental. And it seemed like I didn't hear as much. I know people killed people, but it don't seem like it was a whole lot of senseless killings. Even though back in the day, they were very racist when it came down to. They still had the racism with the cops, and you seen it in the Martin Luther King era. Them hosing down the black people, but it just seemed like we just cared. Like, for example, I was really scared of the adult supervision. Like my mom, I was scared. It's certain things I wouldn't do. Like, I wouldn't talk back at all. At all. My mom would hurt me, okay? Right? But I noticed that today, the children will try their parent. They would try their parent, tell them no. So I don't know if this was because we had a firm punishment when we did something wrong, as opposed to reasoning with the kids. Well, if you do this, I'll give you that. And or I hear them counting backwards, 3, 2, 1. And then by the time they get to 1, their hair will straighten up. So I don't know. What do y'all think about that?
Well, I think that with the older generation, it was like a fear to stay in line because of that physical retribution. But I think that wasn't right. And I think that parents got to a point where they realized, like, not spanking my kid, but beating my kid is wrong. And so they stopped beating their kids. But one thing that I can admit to is that in general, the black community we need to work on communication. So while we shouldn't be bribing our kids, if you do this, I'll do that, we should be talking to them and letting them know, like, there are consequences for your actions, and, like, just effectively communicating with them. Because if you're not going to physically punish them, they still have to be punished. They still have to be disciplined. You can't, like, play the bargain game, because then they're going to always think, oh, somebody's going to bargain with me, and that's not the case.
No, it's not.
So I feel like while we shouldn't be beating our kids anymore, children should not necessarily have that fear, but they should know, like, I'm going to have consequences for my actions, and I need to take responsibilities and be held accountable for those actions as well.
Yeah, because these jobs, you have to be held accountable. You have a 90-day grace period. You better not be absent. You better not do nothing wrong. Don't be late. Do not call out. You better not call out. You're going to lose your job. Okay, so those are consequences, that you would have to face. What you think, Kayla?
Y'all answered my question, because it was going to be family, like the difference between family. So I guess I'll ask marriage. I noticed that marriage is different now. We view it differently, and it's done differently now. And I know in the 70s they came out with that law, like the no fault divorce, to where, like, you don't have to prove, like, oh, he did this so bad or she did this so bad. Y'all can just say, it's not working out, so we want a divorce. So I know that divorcing and splitting up and stuff like that got more and more common, and the family dynamic changed a little bit. But I want to talk about marriage, though, like, because I know that changed a lot, and I know you could probably speak on that, and I want to get your opinion, how you feel about it now and back then.
Well, I could speak on myself, because marriage is according to the individual to me. Because my mom wasn't married, because I seen my mom struggle so much with me and my sister without a man around, even though she did a superb job. But because my mom, I didn't want that. I wanted to be married. I said I don't want to have no children until I'm married. And that was just instilled in me, So, and marriage is something that you work on every day. We're going to have the dog again. Marriage is a daily thing. You have to work on that hourly, daily, monthly. It's not something that just happens. And I feel like when you are married, when you get married, you should be marrying somebody that you know, somebody that's your friend, somebody that you can laugh with, because it's not always about sex, but you have to be able to laugh, talk, argue, and get over it.
Okay. So, I'm not married, and it's funny that you said your mom's situation made you want to get married, because my mom's situation absolutely made me not want to ever be married. So I think that when it comes to marriage, like there's a few reasons why I feel like the dynamic is changing. One, I feel like the institution of marriage or just institutions in general, people are like, I don't want to be institutionalized, so I'm just gonna be a rebel and I'm not gonna be married. I feel like that's one part of it. Another part is like there was a need in order to survive to be married. Like you needed to have a partner to make ends meet, and y'all needed to have children to work the farm or to work in the factories to help support the household. And then over time, as that need like dwindled down, people started marrying for love, and then that's when the law came about. Like if you don't love this person anymore, you don't want to be with them, now y'all can split. You don't need like a real hardcore reason. But I also feel like marriage is also changing as like religion becomes more fluid. Like as people are like, I can take Christianity and make it what I want it to be to suit my needs. I could do the same thing with marriage. And I feel like people aren't as attached to being a strict Christian, so marriage looks different for them as a couple.
So do you mean that the freedom of them being able to go out and be with other partners and
Not
then come back?
necessarily.
Because I know that they have people having open marriages. Now, I can't see that. I'm not having no open marriage, okay? But they have people that have open marriages. Is that what you mean by the Christian thing?
Oh, like, okay, so that's part of it, but it was more so like, people used to say, all right, well, if my husband, I don't know, does whatever, this is like God put us together, so I'm gonna make this work, kind of thing. And it's like people. I don't want to speak for people.
Yeah, but I know what
like,
you're saying.
It's like as they're
not
not sticking to religion as much, they're not sticking to the prescriptions so much.
So you can't say religion when it suits you.
Right.
If it's not working, you know, like say for instance the guy's beating your head in, you know, I gotta stay because I gotta stay married. No, he beating your head in. You don't need to stay married and be abused constantly just for the sake of saying I'm married. I have a husband. No.
And I feel like up until a certain point in time, women would do that because it was like socially, like I can't leave my husband. All the other women in the neighborhood are gonna think I'm a bad wife. But I feel like now that that's changing, the dynamics of relationships are changing too. Plus, like sexuality and who you could be with is just
very fluid.
It's everywhere. So,
but you're right, because even divorced people nowadays, I know a lot of, or I hear a lot of cases where people is divorced, but they will still live together and still be a family, or people be in open marriages. I hear that a lot too. And I think with marriage back then, you kind of signed up to grow together. Like you kind of grew up together. Because a lot of times you married kind of young. Like I know back then people married in their early 20s, so they kind of grow together. But nowadays we're like we talk about self-care and self-esteem. Last time, a lot of times we're like, okay, let me get myself together first. Let me make sure I will be a good partner. Let me make sure I'm good mentally. I love myself enough and stuff like that. So I know we're changing in that aspect. So it makes marriage. We'll probably marry later on, but
but still, they are getting married later. But a lot are still getting married in their 20s because that's when you're in your prime. Well, so they say, and 20s and early 30s. A lot of people getting married then because they want to be married when they're young.
They want to have kids and stuff.
Yeah, have children. But marriage is not taken as serious. Like some people get married this month and they get a divorce the next month. So
yeah, because it used to be like divorce was like not even on the table,
right?
And now it's like, well, I can't get divorced. If it don't work out, I can just get divorced. They just in their back pocket, so it's not as a big of a deal.
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, so the one thing that I wanted to talk a little bit about was just about information versus like affirmation and attention, because I feel like the older generations, y'all used to like praise people like Malcolm X, somebody who studied very hard to be in the position he was in. Martin Luther King, somebody who studied very hard. W.E. Du Bois, I go on and on and on. Angela Davis, but everybody were like well-studied people.
Right.
And I feel like my generation and the generations behind me, like whoever we're all affirming, not necessarily has information. So whoever's most popular, yes, I can go out and probably run for president and maybe even win if it's enough of us are over 18 because that's who's the most popular. So like, what do y'all think about that versus looking for information versus looking to who's the most popular to follow?
I think that's true. Like, entertainment is something that we value way more, it seems like now. And, like, my brain is weird, so I could just imagine somebody, like, say a guy, like, in the 70s or something, woke up and he was just in 2019. He'll probably be like, oh, my God, robots taking over something. Because he always see us in this position. And he's like, well, they following around this technology, but we always want to be, like, entertained or, you know, whatever.
Yes.
But you're right. Entertainment is, like, over studies or what's really going on in your mind and what can really impact the community and stuff. Yeah, that is something.
But that comes with the computer and the phones and always looking at the internet. You know, even with the mukbangs and them constantly eating. You know, and don't get me wrong, is one lady I truly I enjoy her, and that's so good. I like her, but that just comes with constantly looking down. I mean, you even have people that's not even paying attention walking across the street and looking down at their phone. You be like, do you see me coming?
Right.
So would you say we distracted more?
Yeah,
it's just more distraction. That's why we not really.
Yeah, because and one thing that I noticed, like when I was being raised, how about I knew everybody's phone number? I don't know nobody's phone number no more. I just grab my phone and hit one button and it dials the people. And if you was to say, well, what is your niece's phone number? I would have to pick my phone up.
I know how to type in the name.
Yes.
Press one button.
Yeah, so I think it has made my brain lazy as far as memorizing the things I should memorize. Like I should know everybody's phone number at least.
Right.
If something happened to my phone, I should be able to pick somebody else's phone up and call.
Yeah.
You
Technology is
know,
like another life. Like we breathe so much life and energy into that. We shop, we get entertainment. You know, we socialize, we play games. Like everything, you know, is in the technology. So that's probably why we even out of touch when we talk about social injustice and everything. We just move on to topic because everything. So much energy is just in this little screen. We kind of detach because we get so much from this, you know, from the
and
screen.
see, I think that it has made us lazy, even as far as like when I was coming up. I'm gonna say because I touched on it a little bit last week. We used to play and run all the time. That's all we did was played and run because we didn't have no computers, so we did everything physically. You know, and I noticed it's such a rise in diabetes, especially type 2 diabetes, which has a lot to do with fluctuating weight, up and down, you know. So it was just, we just got away from working our brains a lot and working our bodies a lot. I mean, you still have bodybuilders and everything, but I mean, you know, you got bodybuilders, you know, but
you lose skills too.
But
like,
yeah,
like you say you work with a lot of students and stuff, and I know when we grew up, handwriting was important, even though mine is still a mess. But did you notice any?
They can't write in cursive.
Really?
They're not taught to write in cursive anymore. Like if you're lucky to get a teacher who prioritizes that, you'll know how to write in cursive. But I teach 10th grade, and I had students who couldn't even write their names in cursive. I had to teach them how to write their names in cursive. And when I tried to do my cursive unit, it was like, nah, so actually you're going to do this instead. So it's like I tried.
Wow.
So everybody left my class knowing how to write their name in cursive. They could sign a check or something like that, but they can't. And that's a problem because you're literally locked out of your own language. You speak English, but you can't read in English because somebody didn't teach you how to read in cursive or write in cursive.
Oh, wow. And I didn't even think of that. But see, then that goes back to when I was I learned how to write cursive in the 2nd grade. You had to learn how to write in cursive. And I went to Catholic school. And if you didn't do it right, they would crack your knuckles. No. They would say, ball your fists up, and they would crack your knuckles. I learned how to write perfect cursive, okay? And I love writing in cursive. I only write in cursive. So.
Wow. That's deep. I used to feel proud writing in cursive.
Me
too.
too.
You know,
Like,
you
I
feel
thought I'm
good when you
grown.
learn. I know.
Like, not scribbles no more.
Yep.
And then you get to the point where you start scribbling so they can't read it. That's my that's
Yeah,
that's
that's
how I do
signature.
my
That's how I-
It's
Yep.
like I made it.
Wow. That's something.
yeah, but yeah, so I just feel like this day and age we see a lot of struggle. Like I try not to let my children see the struggle that I have, but they'll hear me say, it's hard. You know, whereas I didn't know the struggle that my mom had. I really didn't. I didn't know we didn't have money. I just never realized that. But I think my children realize my struggle. So.
I could talk on about this. There's so many questions and observations. We might have to do a part 2. I don't know.
Okay, so in the end,
I just want to say that we need to do some hard work. The older generation needs to be like a little bit more forgiving of the younger generation to give them a little bit more leeway and just admit and accept the fact that maybe we're not doing as great of a job leading them as we can be, because if we were, then they wouldn't be in the predicament that they're in. So I feel like it's up to us as the older generation, as the adults in the situation, to like extend that hand and to be the first ones to try to build that bridge. Otherwise, like, our community is never going to excel the way that it should.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I agree.
It's about all coming together as a unit to work together, because there's some things that the older people know that they can teach. It's things that the younger people can know, especially with the gadgets.
Yes.
Yeah, the technology is all they had to teach. We have to share with one another and respect one another.
Yeah, that's true. I agree, because we got so much access. Now that we have a lot of access, we can take all of the information that we have at our fingertips and work together, kind of learn how to socialize again.
Yes.
And the future can look bright if we all just work together.
Yes.
So, yeah.
And we can do it. We can definitely do it. As you see, working together, all these generations right here.
Yes.
So, thank you so much for tuning in to Point of View. I am Crystal Holliday.
Sage Molly.
And Shakayla.
And like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. And as I always say, be blessed.